Hi, counselors. This is the Greenfield organizational meeting scheduled for tonight. I wanted to ask the consent of the council to allow Counselor Gwynn to serve momentarily, to open the meeting and do the roll call as President Pro Tem. If anyone has objections to that, please let me know. But I would like, if it's acceptable to you all, for him simply to open the meeting and serve for the roll call at this point, and then we would hear from Parliamentarian Will Roberts as to what we believe the best process is to take for the organizational meeting tonight.
So moved, Ricketts.
Okay?
Second,
So
Mayo.
we're not actually in the meeting yet. I simply wanted to ask if there was any objection to having Counselor Gwynn. And as long as there's no objections heard, I thank you all very much. And Counselor Gwynn, take it away.
I'd like to call to order the reorganization meeting of January 4th via WebEx conferencing system. This meeting is being recorded and videotaped by the City Council and GCTV 15. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify me at this time. Kathy, is there anyone that is showing that they're recording?
There is not.
A roll call of members.
Counselor Jarvis,
Present.
Counselor Gwynn,
Here.
Counselor Disorder,
Here.
Counselor Bottomley,
Here.
Counselor Dolan,
Here.
Counselor Gilmore,
Here.
Counselor Wheeler,
Present.
Counselor Mayo,
Here.
Counselor Hirschfeld,
Here.
Counselor Elmer,
Here.
Counselor Forgy,
Here.
Counselor Ricketts,
Present.
Counselor Stemple.
Present.
Thank you. There is a quorum. Counselor Gwynn, would we like to have Mr. Roberts speak at this time?
Do we want to waive the motion, waive the minutes before he speaks, or waive the rules?
I think, yeah, waiving the rules would be a good idea, and then we would ask him to speak.
I move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council waive the rules of procedure 8, order and disposition of business, to allow the agenda items to be taken out of order.
Second, Stemple. Gilmore.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? It appears we have a unanimous vote to waive the rules of procedure. Now, Parliamentarian Roberts, would you like to speak?
Mr. Roberts, I think you're muted. There you go.
I unmuted myself. I did just the opposite.
We've all been there.
I think you're going to wish I was muted, however. Kathy and I have been going back and forth over this, and I've been going through the rules of procedure, the charter, and Robert's Rules of Order. According to Article 2, Section 2 of the City Charter, quote, as soon as practicable, after the councilors elect have been qualified following each city election, or on the first business day of the new year, the members of the city council shall elect the council president, who shall serve during the ensuing year. Operating under this, the council has held an organizational meeting each January. This has been based on the fact that the council has been remade anew by the addition and subtraction of new members as a result of the election. Past practice has been for that organizational meeting to be conducted by the member of the council with the most seniority in membership. And as this year, as last year, you have We have Councilor Gwynn doing this. This year, however, 2020, and this is something just to think about for a few minutes. For the first time, there were no council elections, and thus no change in membership of the council. However, Rule 5651A of the City Council's Rules of Procedure, as amended April 17th, 2019, is specific in stating, quote, "The City Council shall meet for organization on the first business day in January following the regular city elections. This organizational meeting shall be held before the regular City Council meeting." So one question that keeps eating at me is there was no city election. Therefore, does the council remain intact as it was with its current officers, or does it reconstruct itself? And I think that's one thing you need to talk about before we go any further. That's just my suggestion. If you decide to go forward, you can hold the organizational meeting and elect new officers. And by holding that meeting, you can follow past practice and have the counselor with the greatest seniority conduct it until a new president is elected, and that new president will then conduct the elections of vice president and treasurer. And I mute myself for a bit.
Is that your full statement?
Right now, yes. I want to see what your thoughts are about that. If you decide to go ahead, then you just follow past practice and reorganize the council. I'm just suggesting, as parliamentarian, you need to determine how you're going to follow the rules, and you really need to decide to revise the rule.
Clerk Scott, I'm just going to call on you at this point in time, as you have been present for a long. Has it been past practice and history of this council to elect officers each and every year, regardless of a election or not?
Yes, it has.
So the protocol and past history would indicate that we have an organizational meeting in January before our first regular scheduled meeting each and every year, correct?
Correct.
That being said, I can open the floor for any discussion to anyone that wants to comment on that. I see that past, present, current President Stempel has a comment. Councilor Stempel.
I'm just trying to, so Mr. Roberts, so that was a 2019 change. So in my mind, I'm trying to think back to the rationale for having changed that and any discussion that would have prompted that change. And I don't know if anyone on the council remembers why that would have been done. You know, it seems like it's a purposeful thing, but for whatever reason, I can't remember why it would have been done.
Councilor Wheeler?
Oh, I don't actually have an answer to that. I just had a comment. So
No,
someone else has an answer.
If someone else, sorry, Councilor
right.
Wheeler, if someone has the answer for Councilor Stempel or can recall, it doesn't have to be, this is just a discussion. So if someone has some enlightenment on this subject, please. And Councilor Wheeler, in that meantime, did you want to make a comment?
Yeah, what I was going to say is I really appreciate Mr. Roberts' thoroughness in interpreting our rules of procedure. But the way that I read that line of the statute, and I'm going to reread it. As soon as practicable after the councilors-elect have been qualified following each town election or on the first business day of the new year. That gives us latitude. You know, I'm not saying it's a perfectly written statute. I don't remember why it says what it does, and we could certainly clarify it. But I think we're clear in having the latitude to say, this is the first business day of the year. It's time to elect new officers.
Thank you. Clerk Scott, did you have something that you wanted to add?
I did, but Councilor Jarvis was next in line, if you would like to have him speak before me.
Actually, I will just ask Councilor Jarvis to hold on and just go to you as the clerk in case you're going to give us.
I simply wanted to say, whatever, whether there's elections tonight, that's up to the will of the council. Moving forward in the beginning part of this year, I'm going to request that we clear this up in the language so that we all know moving forward whether organizational meetings are held biannually after the elections, or if an organizational meeting is the will of the council to be held annually. That's my only comment.
Thank you. Councilor Jarvis.
Thanks, Dan. I'd just like to say it's been past practice. It's happened before. And as we all know, past practice rules most of the time. We always refer to, oh, it's past practice, so we have to live with it. I believe that we need to make some changes for later on, so it's crystal clear, so this doesn't happen again, because I'm sure it will. So I just think we should move forward. It's been past practice. It's happened before, so let's just move forward with it.
Thank you. Councilor Mayo.
As some councilors have said already, it has been past practice in the past, and that in itself allows it to move forward with elections tonight. So I believe we should have elections tonight.
Thank you. Councilor Ricketts.
Yes, thank you, Councilor Gwen. I was going to ask Madam Clerk a question. Do you think that some of the change happened because for years we had June elections and we decided to change to November? And I wonder if that change was the reason, because we decided we wanted to follow the regular election cycle.
So if I may.
Sure, of course.
In my memory, the changes to the biennial cycle for elections did prompt changes to the rules of procedure to follow the biennial election schedule. And that would have happened more in 2017, 16, when we changed. So off the top of my head, I don't remember the amendment made in 2019. So that would be something I would have to research. I did not look today.
All right. I don't see anyone else looking to comment. Let me just say, looking at precedent, is there anyone that objects to us going forward with the voting? And don't feel that my question is targeting anyway. If someone is not comfortable with voting tonight, we should know about it. If you're all in favor and all comfortable, so we can move forward. But is there anyone that objects to this and wants this looked into or such? Because I don't want to proceed if we have any discontent. All right, I'm seeing none. Parliamentarian Roberts, do you have anything else to add on our procedure this evening as spoke on earlier?
Will, you are still muted.
I keep
There you
doing
go.
it the other way around. No, I think you've made a good decision. And if you're ready to proceed, I was eager to see what you do.
Clerk Scott.
So there was one mention earlier when parliamentarian Roberts and I spoke that after nominations were made for the 3 offices, before the votes were taken, that a vote be taken to close the nominations. We're in the virtual world now, and when we were holding these meetings in person, it was so much easier to understand what was the flow of the meeting. But by intentionally taking a vote to close the nominations, it would be clear to everyone on the council and any public that was viewing or attending that nominations for that specific office were closed.
Clerk Scott, so I will request nominations. They will be presented, they will be seconded, they will be accepted. Once that has happened for all in that office, I would then close the nominations for that office.
Okay. Yes.
And then I will be done, and the president will step in and follow that same procedure with vice president and treasurer.
So you will close the nominations prior to the vote, and then
Prior to the vote. Okay, yep. Okay.
And then when the council votes, that's when the president would take their seat.
Okay, thank you. And they would then, all right, then they'll start the next round. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I will then move forward with item 4 on the agenda, which is the election of council officers. I will now ask if there are nominations for council president. If you want to use the window, that's all good.
I see Councilor Forgy has her hand up.
Councilor Forgy.
I nominate
I
Penny Ricketts.
also had my comment.
Okay. If you can use the
I can only
window,
see
then I'll
certain
step on you.
people.
I did use the
Okay.
window, or I used the chat.
The chat.
Councilor Forgy.
And I nominate Penny Ricketts for council president.
I have a nomination for Councilor Ricketts. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second,
Mayo.
DeSorbo.
I have a second by Councilor Mayo. Are there any other nominations? Councilor Clerk Scott. Yeah, so I'll continue nominations. Yeah, okay. Is there any other nominations?
I believe Councilor Dolan is logged in as city council and would like to speak.
Yes. Councilor Dolan.
I'd like to nominate our current president, Councilor Stemple.
I have a nomination for Councilor Stemple. Do I have a second?
Second, Wheeler.
That has been made and seconded. Are there any other nominations for council president? Anyone in the box? Anyone that anyone sees? Is there any other nominations?
I do not see any more hands, but if you give me just a minute, I will scroll through and look. I do not see any other hands raised or comments other than Councilor Dolan. He was the last one.
Okay. Following the procedure which we outlined, Clerk Scott, would you like the acceptance of the nominations before I close that prior to the vote?
Yes, please.
Okay. We'll go in order as nominated, and as we go through this, nominations are still open until we close them. So that would be Counselor Ricketts. I will ask if you would like to speak and accept or reject your nomination.
Thank you, Councilor Gwen. I'll accept.
Sorry, I muted myself in case. Counselor Ricketts, would you like to make a nomination statement?
Sure, thanks. Okay, I'll have to read this. Okay. Okay, my first service to Greenfield was serving as a school committee member. I was a 30-year-old single mother of 2 young children. I quickly learned budgets as well as serving on policy and negotiation committees. Eye-opening and a huge learning curve. You have no idea. I moved on to Planning Board, Youth Commission, and served over 15 years on the Human Rights Commission. This truly showed me the different and diverse folks who often fall through the cracks in our community. My first year on council was in 2014. I have served as vice president, appointment and ordinances chair, as well as my first love, economic development. Sitting on the TIF committee gave me insight on just how we could entice and keep new businesses here. This past year, I didn't serve on any committees as a chair. What an opportunity. Not only did I sit on appointments and ordinances and CRE, but I attended every single subcommittee meeting as well as firehouse, public safety, and school committee. Since half of the council was new, I got to watch everyone come into their own. I watched Greenfield through their eyes and their questions. How refreshing. Off the council floor, I have been very busy for years, sitting on various boards and committees. Some of the following, and I'm still active in many of them, is the FRTA, GSAT, Literacy Project, NELQUIT, YMCA, Recreation Volunteer, GCTV, Rotary Club, GBA, just to name a few. I've learned collaboration over the years, and most recently with the GBA working with the city for the downtown holiday lights. You recently unanimously voted me back onto Youth Commission. Sustainable Greenfield has already reached out and wants to help out in our mission to focus on the children. It's another meeting, yes, but the children are our future, and that's more than an overused slogan. As the country raged on this past summer about whose lives matter, I felt relatively safe with this community with many people who share the same values. Last March, I was awarded the Martin Luther King Living the Dream Award from Greenfield Community College. Talk about a humbling moment. On January 20th, I'll be joining other people of color on a panel and workshops on racism for the students and staff at Shawmont Academy. I know Greenfield has never had a person of color as president of town or city council. This is 2021, a place I proudly serve and I call home. This vote is bigger than just me becoming president. It is a message to all people of color, especially women and girls. It is possible to make a difference in your community. In my recent profile for the UMass Boston Leadership Women Elected to Office in Massachusetts, I stated that once we have a seat at the table, we should move over to invite and welcome other strong voices. I ask each one of you for your vote tonight. This will be an exciting year as everyone now has experience working, speaking, and voting from the council floor. With my experience, I can lead us through 2021. Thank you in advance for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Ricketts. Councilor Stemple, would you like to accept or reject your nomination?
I accept.
Thank you. Counselor Stemple, would you like to give us a acceptance address?
Sure, I'd be happy to make a statement.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. It's been an honor to serve as president of the Greenfield City Council over this past year. No one could have predicted what 2020 would bring for us. And it goes without saying that 2020 was a difficult year in different ways for everyone. Personally, this year will forever go down as the hardest of my life. Despite the pandemic and other personal tragedies, serving as your president this year, I'm most proud of leading the council through an unprecedented virtual year in pandemic, a year during which we still had a ton of real big business to get through regardless. Just a few zoning amendments, it feels like we have those quite often these days, as well as an important fire station vote, among other important business that we had to get through despite being virtual and really learning along the way. I'm really proud of restoring order and civility to the council, making it a point to lead in a way that removes personalities from the important work of governing and allowing for 13 individuals with different ideas and opinions to really come together united and work together effectively for the common good of our city. I'm proud to have led from the back, encouraging the leadership and development of my colleagues, facilitating effective meetings and information gathering, enabling the council to make meaningful decisions on their own with the information they needed to do so. And finally, leading collaboratively, restoring the council's relationship with the mayor's office and the school committee. And this is also in thanks to my colleagues, Mayor Weedgartner, Chief of Staff Letourneau, and Chair Peretti. Uniting together really helped us see from each person's perspective and really make sure, again, that we all had the information we needed to lead through together. And then regardless of the year I had, losing my mother to cancer and welcoming my first child into this world, without a doubt, I seek to serve as your president for one more year. To continue to create order and process for the council for years to come and build off the momentum we've built this year through one of the hardest years, I think, not just for us as individuals, but maybe the council has had together. Never before had we had to come together via WebEx, and never before had we had to have a pandemic and guide and lead ourselves through that, as well as the business of this city. And so what I'm asking you is to please, yes, having a child is a lot of responsibility. And what I'm asking you to do is to check any unconscious biases you might have about my new responsibility and my ability to still serve this council as your president. I am proud of my leadership, not just over the last year, but over the last 5 years of this council, serving as chair of Ways and Means for 2 years, the chair of the Economic Development Committee, as well as serving as a member of the Sustainable Greenfield Implementation Committee. And I'm also proud of the results, some that I mentioned now and some I haven't mentioned, that I've brought to this board since I've joined the council in 2015. And I also would go without saying, I'm really appreciative of the support and partnership of Vice President Wheeler that I received last year, and that of each of you as well. I humbly ask for your continued support tonight for your vote so that I can continue the work, we can continue the work, and we can do it together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Stemple. Clerk Scott, although we're not supposed to be typing in the public comment box to the right.
Thank you, Councilor Gwynn.
There's nothing supposed to be there. There's a mention of the wrong date posted for this meeting or something that someone is in contention. I just want to make sure. I opened it on January 4th. Our agenda shows January 4th, so I'm not sure what that's referring to.
So I cannot see that comment. So it must have been put out to someone specifically.
So it was just So please don't use that for
that's fine.
communication. But
I see that the committee chair's agenda is properly posted on our website for
and
January 4th at 6 p.m.
I mean, the organizational meeting, committee chairs would be.
I'm sorry, you're correct. The organizational meeting.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were in compliance. That's all I wanted to make sure that there was no. All right, we've had 2 nominations. Oh, Councilor Ricketts, did you have a comment?
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you. I did not want to interrupt Councilor Stemple to bring that to the attention. But what I believe is happening is that the reorganizational and the chairs just got confused. So I think some people think this is the chairs tonight.
Right,
So,
which is reorg. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. So our reorganization meeting was posted on the 4th, opened on the 4th, and is proceeding on the 4th. But I appreciate the input from both the public and our councilors. Thank you. That being said, we have had 2 nominations accepted for president of the council. At this time, are there any other nominations for president? Seeing none, I would like to take a vote to close the nominations for the president.
So moved, Jarvis.
Second, Dolan.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, I will close the nominations for president. Counselor Scott, Chair, yeah, he's going to be a counselor one of these days, whether I or Ashley or somebody makes her one. Clerk Scott.
Sorry for the outburst of laughing there.
I will ask for a roll call vote as we discussed.
Yeah.
And the procedure in this year will be when you are asked, you will give the name of the person you're choosing for that office. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
all right.
So we will call for a roll call of votes. We will go in order as standard order of council by seat and precinct. And on that roll call, please state which candidate, either Councilor Ricketts or Councilor Stemple, for president. Once we reach 7 votes, the president will be chosen.
Councilor Gwynn, may I say something?
Yes, of course.
It was my intention, as you are serving as Councilor Pro Tem, to call on you last, as I would normally do for the president. Is that acceptable?
I would prefer to be in order of council.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Jarvis.
Councilor Ricketts.
Councilor Gwynn.
Councilor Stemple.
Councilor Disorder.
Councilor Ricketts.
Councilor Bottomley.
Councilor Ricketts.
Councilor Dolan.
Councilor Stemple.
I'm sorry, Councilor Dolan. I think you said Stemple, but I would like to clarify.
I did, Councilor Stemple.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilor Gilmore.
Councilor Ricketts.
Councilor Wheeler.
Councilor Stemple.
Councilor Mayo.
Councilor Ricketts.
Thank you. Councilor Hirschfeld.
Councilor Stemple.
Councilor Elmer.
Councilor Stemple.
Really?
Councilor Forgy.
Counselor Ricketts.
Councilor Ricketts.
Councilor Ricketts.
Councilor Stemple.
I vote for myself.
Thank you. Let me just clarify. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Councilor Ricketts received 7 votes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Councilor Stemple received 6 votes. The majority goes to President Ricketts.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Penny.
Thank you. Thank you.
At this time, it is my privilege to turn over the imaginary gavel to Councilor Ricketts, President Ricketts, who will now continue with the nominations for the officers. And congratulations, President Ricketts.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Councilor Gwen and everyone. Okay, so let me, people must be watching. I'm trying to just get on the page. Okay, so now I would like to open the floor up for nominations for a vice president. And I can't see you all, so you may have to use the chat, but I'll look and see.
I see no messages in the chat so far, President Ricketts.
Thank you. Me neither.
It must be malfunctioning because I have speak there. It just is not when I hit return. It does not go into the.
Okay.
So that's why I'm raising my hand.
Okay, Councilor Mayo.
I would like to nominate Councilor Sheila Gilmore for vice chair.
Okay, thank you. So, okay. And seconded by DeSorga. Okay. Do we have any other nominations for vice president? I cannot see.
I do not see any hands. I do see
Oh,
that
I do.
Councilor Dolan would like to. Yeah,
Whoops, sorry. Didn't mean to step on you.
that's all right.
Councilor Dolan?
I'd like to nominate Councilor Elmer for vice president.
Okay. Councilor Elmer, do I have a second?
Stemple.
Yes, Councilor Stemple seconds that. Okay. Do I have any other nominations? Okay, one more time. Do I have any other nominations for vice president? Councilor Elmer.
I'd like to nominate Counselor Wheeler.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Councilor Stemple. Okay, Councilor Stemple.
I'd also like to nominate Councilor Gwynn.
Okay, do I have a second?
God. Seriously?
Second, Jarvis.
Okay, and I have a second by Jarvis. Do I have any other nominations? Okay, I'll do one more time. Any other nominations for vice president? So we have Councilor Elmer, Councilor Wheeler, and Councilor Gwynn. Okay, so I will start with Councilor Elmer. Would you, nope. Madam Clerk.
Councilor Gilmore was also nominated, President Ricketts.
Oh, it's the first one I have at the top. Sorry about that.
There you go.
Councilor Gilmore, Elmer, Wheeler, and Gwen. Councilor Gilmore, would you like to accept?
Yes, I'll accept. Thank you.
Thank you. And would you like to make a statement?
I can wait until we figure out who has accepted.
Okay. Councilor Elmer, would you like to accept your nomination?
I'm flattered, but I'll pass. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Elmer. Councilor Wheeler, would you like to accept?
Thank you for the nomination, but I decline.
You decline. Okay. Thank you. Councilor Gwynn, do you accept the nomination?
It was not my intention to accept this nomination, but seeing we have one candidate, I will accept the nomination.
Okay. So Councilor Gwynn would like to accept. Okay. So at this time, Councilor Gilmore, would you like to make a statement?
Yes, and I'm sorry, I have to have my video off. My bandwidth is kind of shaky right now. I tried to have it on earlier. So I think that, now that we have a new president, I would be happy to support Councilor Ricketts in her role. I would be just as happy if Councilor Gwynn also, played that same supporting role. I think that what I want to focus on this year is just making sure that as we're recovering from the pandemic and moving into this post-pandemic world, we're making sure that we're making good plans and taking the right steps forward for Greenfield and seeing us through hopefully what's going to be a much better and much easier year than 2020 was.
Thank you. Councilor Gwynn.
As we got into tonight, this was not something that I had thought of would happen tonight. I had considered this earlier this week. I just think if I was chosen to be your vice president, I would use my experience of the past merged with the forward motion that was looked at this year, looking at the things that are going to be such huge impact on Greenfield with new buildings, new policies, looking at departments, our new mayor still continuing to establish her direction. I think my past and my history, my abilities to run meetings, bring community together, as I've shown with events that we've had to bring people to Greenfield, I think I could be an asset. I am honored that I was nominated. I also believe that the entire slate that was nominated for vice president tonight could serve in that capacity. I think all of them are good counselors, and I think it's a great group I was included with. I hope that in the past year, since coming back after a 10-year hiatus, after serving for 11 years, that I showed people that I'm fair, that I will always tell you what I'm thinking, whether you like it or not, that I'm direct, and I try to do it with a sense of humor and a level of inclusion. And I'd like to work with you. I'd like to work with this council, and I look forward to this year. Thank you. And I would appreciate your vote.
Okay, so at this time, I would like to close the nominations for vice president, if I'm correct, Madam Clerk.
You are.
Okay.
We will need a motion.
So moved, Jarvis.
Jarvis.
Seconded, Elmer.
What are you doing?
Should we vote on that?
Yeah, so we will do this the same way. The Madam Clerk will call the roll call, and you will say Councilor Gilmore or Councilor Gwynn, and we'll start at precinct 1.
President Ricketts, the council needs to vote to close the nominations.
Oh, I thought we just, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Did somebody oppose? Okay.
No.
Abstentions? Okay.
Would you like me to roll right into the voting for the vice president?
Yep,
Thank
please.
you. Councilor Jarvis.
Councilor Gwynn.
Councilor Gwynn.
Councilor Gwynn.
Councilor Disorder.
Councilor Gilmore.
Councilor Bottomley.
Councilor Gilmore.
Councilor Dolan.
Councilor Gwynn.
Councilor Gilmore.
Councilor Gilmore.
Councilor Wheeler.
Councilor Gwynn.
Councilor Mayo.
Councilor Gilmore.
Councilor Hirschfeld.
Councilor Gilmore.
Councilor Elmer.
Councilor Gwynn.
Councilor Forgy.
Councilor Gilmore.
Councilor Stemple.
Councilor Gwynn.
President Ricketts.
Councilor Gilmore.
Okay, 1 minute. Councilor Gilmore received 7 votes. Councilor Gwynn received 6 votes. Congratulations, Vice President Gilmore.
Yes, yes, congratulations. And thank you, everyone, for nominating folks. And all right, now, let's see. All right, so need my glasses. Sorry about this. Okay, so is there any old business?
Motion to adjourn, Wheeler.
Oh, I
Excuse
did have
me,
one
We have
question.
a treasurer to elect, folks.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so I will open the nominations for treasurer. And let me look, see people flaring around.
I see no one in the chat, President Ricketts.
Okay, nope. Okay, Councilor Gilmore.
There you go.
I would like to nominate Virginia Disorder.
Okay, Councilor Disorder, do I have a second?
Second Hirschfeld.
Okay, thank you. Second from Hirschfeld. Do I have any other nominations for treasurer?
I see no one in the chat, President Ricketts.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So seeing no one more time. Okay, Councilor Disorder, would you like to accept this nomination?
I would, thank you. I accept.
Okay. Okay, would you like to make a statement?
Yes, I would appreciate your vote for being the treasurer again. I enjoyed being at the committee chairs and participating at many of the meetings, and I would appreciate your vote. That's all.
Thank you, Councilor DeSorga. Okay. So, I don't know, do I need to close this as well?
Yes, we should, just to keep the process cohesive.
Right. Okay. So, make a motion that we close the treasurer. Do I have a second?
Second, Mayo.
Thank you, Councilor Mayo. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Anybody abstain? No? Okay. So, Madam Clerk, would you like to do a roll call, or would you just like everyone to say aye for this treasurer position?
As there are no other nominations, I believe that everyone proclaiming, when they're called in favor or opposed would be fine.
Perfect. Okay.
You do still need to call for the vote, though.
Okay. Okay. Take a vote for Councilor Virginia DeSorga to be our treasurer. And Madam Clerk, we'll take a roll call vote.
Councilor Jarvis?
Yes.
Councilor Gwynn?
Yes.
Councilor DeSorga?
Yes.
Councilor Bottomley?
Yes.
Councilor Dolan?
Yes.
Vice President Gilmore?
Yes.
Councilor Wheeler?
Yes.
Councilor Mayo?
Yes.
Councilor Hirschfeld?
Yes.
Councilor Elmer?
Yes.
Councilor Forgy?
Yes.
Councilor Stemple?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes, I do, and it's yes.
The unanimous vote for Treasurer DeSorga.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. Okay, so do we have any old business? Okay, so for new business, I do have a question, and Madam Clerk can let me know if this should be a phone call discussion tomorrow or what, but I know we have chairs tomorrow, and I wondered what we were going to do about sending out paperwork for people to make their decisions on what committee they would like to serve on. If we're going to do that by email.
If that's what you would like us to do, that would be fine. My suggestion for chairs tomorrow
Just leave it
is to have the currently sitting chair people attend the meeting and serve as the chairperson until newly appointed chairperson is available.
Perfect.
If a change is even made.
Okay, thank you so much. I fully agree.
But we could definitely have a conversation tomorrow also.
Okay, all right. That'll be great. Okay, any other new business? Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Elmer.
Second by Mayo.
Second by Mayo. All in
Yes.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We are adjourned at 6:54 p.m. Thank you, everyone.